My name is Ben Andersen. I live in Idaho in the United States of America. I have a dairy here called Andersen Dairy. We milk 1,600 cows. Over 90% of them are crossbred cows. I still have a small percentage of Holsteins and Jerseys. I began crossbreeding about 8 years ago and began with Jersey crosses, just kind of playing with it, exploring how it would work. And as I got into milking the Jersey cross cows, I was curious as to what direction I should take for the future. When I saw an article in a dairy magazine which talked about the dairies in California that were using Viking Red and Montbéliards, and decided to take a trip to California and liked what I saw, and decided I was going to use the Viking Red with the Jersey. About a year later, I went back to California and decided to use some Montbéliard, and over the course of time I've actually decided to discontinue the Jersey and use Montbéliard, Viking Red, and Holstein as the three breeds in my crossing program. The reason for going to the Montbéliard and the Viking Red and the Holstein was just to get, I felt like I got a little more hardier cow, a cow that could stand up to my conditions. We do have some winters that are cold and windy, and I have open pens here that without any cover, and I needed a cow that could really withstand the climates. We are now in the process of building free stalls to house the cows in, but I still feel like that cross will really handle the free stall environment well, and it's the cross that I prefer and that I'm going to continue with for the future. These are our heifers. This pen of heifers, they're about 7-8 months old. My heifers are after birth they're raised off-site by a custom calf raiser and come back to me at about 350 pounds, and then we take them on up to calving from there. I think with the crossbred calves, really it's nice after calves are born. It's nice that you see them get up fairly quickly after birth, and typically if you don't get them out of the pen fairly quick, they'll go to try to nursing the dam. A lot of vigor in the calves. Very few problems with the heifers. They're pretty trouble free, especially from weaning on up when I take care of them. Another comment on the crossbreds, on the ProCROSS, I felt like their tolerance to the weather has been very good. They handle my severe winters very well, and also I feel like they're more tolerant to the heat. I'm not in a real hot climate, but in the summertime we do get some 90-degree days, 90+ degree days, and just noticing the crosses compared to the Holsteins, they seem to be fairly comfortable and don't seem to be feeling the heat stress like many of my Holstein cows do. These are the Heifer Facilities at our operation. My newborns are raised off-site at a custom heifer grower until they're about 350 pounds, and then they come back here and are raised until calving. Well, I guess for the duration of their life after that. But as far as the crossbred calves after birth, you really notice the vigor from the calves. They're up on their feet quickly after birth, and if you don't get them moved within a half-hour after birth, they're usually up trying to suck their mother, and they're really nice to raise. I have very very little problems with the heifers when I get them back at 350 pounds. It's very rare for us to treat any heifers at all. Basically, we just got to keep feed in front of them, and they do really, really well, and they carry really nice condition. One of the first benefits I saw with crossbreeding was in the calving and transition of fresh cows. When I was a pure Holstein herd, we ran about a 9 to 10% stillbirth rate, and immediately as we began to crossbreed, I saw that number cut in half. We now run about 4 to 5% stillbirths. Our cows are just housed in an open pen here. We do not move them at calving. They just calve freely on their own out here. We do very little assisting, and the cows just transition very easily. They do move down to the next pen, to a fresh cow pen, where they stay for a week to 2 weeks. We have very few transition problems. Displaced abomasums are pretty much non-existent, and very little metritis. We have only less than 2% of the cows leave in the first 60 days after calving, which is a very good number, and I've been very happy with the transitioning of the cows. It's probably been one of the things I've found to be the greatest benefit, is just the calving ability of the crossbred, and their ability to just transition seamlessly into lactation and just get going, and then get on to making milk and reproducing again. I knew Big Gill. Like next week, I better have Greg take a load back. I think I've got these are the transition pens. This is the fresh cow pen. We've seen the close-up pen. I initially thought this was going to be at about a 900 to 1,000 cow dairy, and sized my pens according to that. I found that I could milk 1,400 cows through my barn if I really push hard, and decided to just milk more cows. If I were a Holstein herd, I would not be able to get away with this small of pens, because the cows would struggle to transition. But with the crossbreds, I find I don't need to have as much time in the fresh cow pen. I seem to get away with a little bit of overcrowding, and it does not have too much effect on my ability to transition cows. Another real benefit we found, specifically with the ProCROSS, is with high beef prices, the value of our cull cows has gone up on them. We have very few thin or frail cows to sell, so we typically get more of the top end beef price when we cull cows. We also have found a nice premium on our bull calves, especially those that are sired by Montbéliard, anywhere from $25 to $50 US dollar premiums on those Montbéliard sired ProCROSSes. This is a pen of 400 heifers. They're all pregnant. Those with the blue ear tags are actually carrying Holstein embryos. At our other dairy, about 50 miles away, we have a 600 cow dairy where we do have some purebred Holsteins, some that are with very high genomic numbers, and we're doing a large amount of embryo transfer and IVF. We have several cows being IVF'd in Wisconsin, and then the eggs are being shipped here and put into the crossbred heifers. So that's kind of a secondary income stream for our operation in marketing genetics. But we feel like for our commercial operation that the crossbreeding is the best route for us to go to get the results that we want. This pen here houses my older cows. I still have a few of my pure Holsteins in here, and then I have a large number of my first crosses with Peterslund, or with Viking Red and Mont Belliard. Some of the bulls I used early on, I used a lot of Peterslund and B. Jurist, and I used Botans. I then later on used some O'Brolin, Gunnerstorp, and of Mont Belliard I used a lot of Micmac and Masalino and Papayu, and then I used Redon for about 5 years and continue to use him as a bull that I mate with even today. So a lot of good old cows that have made over 100,000 pounds of lifetime milk. Many of those in this pen. This is cow 5546. This is my first Viking Red Holstein cow that I had calve in the herd. She was born December 24th, 2005. She is 6 lactation. For her first 5 lactations, it took one unit of semen each time. On her 5th lactation, it did take 2 services to get her pregnant. So she's been serviced 7 times for 6 lactations. She calved at 1 year 10 months, or no, 1 year 8 months, 2 years 9 months, 3 years 8 months, 4 years 7 months, 5 years 7 months. So she's very efficient reproductively. She is a cow that she's made over 100,000 lifetime milk with a over a 4% butter fat and 3.3% protein. You know, she's not going to win any awards at the show, but she holds together really well, and she just comes out and minds her business and does her job, and really just a tremendous cow that I think represents the Viking Reds very well.
And she's sired by?
She is sired by Peterslund.
Yeah.
I think I have more than 100 milking Peterslunds in the herd. A dairyman from the state of Utah come and visit me yesterday, who milks 300 Holstein cows and is interested in beginning crossbreeding and using Viking Red and Mont Belliard. One of the comments he made to me was he was surprised that the cows have really quite nice udders, and I think that's sometimes a misconception that with the crossbreds that the cows are going to have really poor udders. They're going to look like a beef cow, and you know, they really have good functional commercial udders. This pen here that we're going to look at, they're primarily 2nd and 3rd lactation. There are a few 1st lactation cows mixed in here. All of these are crossbred cows. This is a pen of 160 1st lactation heifers. Again, all stages of lactation. They've got about 5 hours of milk in them. Another thing that you'll see with the crossbreds are really good feet and legs. Track out really good. We have very little incidence of lameness. Cows, they get up and they eat and get to where they need to go. We are in the middle of our construction project. We are not expanding the herd, but we are converting our open corrals to freestall barns. And so we're in the process right now of pouring a 600-foot back alley for the freestall barn. We've been working on this for about 4 months, and probably be a couple more months before we get the barns completed.
Maybe you could tell us what this machine is.
Okay. This machine is a Gameco concrete machine, and they're pouring a 600-foot long section here, and they can pour it in 3 to 4 hours with this machine. With this construction, we had to make room for them to work on 2 pens at a time, so we had to empty 2 of our pens out. And so I built a manger here, put in headlocks, and I'm combining my far-off dry cows and my springing heifers in 1 pen, which has allowed me to free up a couple pens for construction. So at the current time, I am overcrowding my pregnant heifers and my dry cows, but I now we're working towards the completion of our first freestall barn. We should be able to house about 650 cows, and in this barn, about 85% of the milking cows will be in freestalls. The fresh cows will continue to be in the open housing. I will have 1 pen of about 140 cows that will be in an open pen for cows that maybe struggle on their feet and legs in the freestalls or don't lay in the freestalls. We will have one open housing pen for that. So working on the roof now, and there will be indoors and curtains on the building when it's completed. We chose to use sand bedding for the freestalls. It is the #1 bedding for cow comfort. These cows have been in the freestalls for less than a week. They're really enjoying it. They've never been in freestalls before, but the cows are choosing to come lay in the freestalls. They still have the ability to go outside as they're being trained here. We really feel like we will be doing the cow the best service to give her the time to lay down and to make milk by choosing sand. And we also have the ability to handle the sand with our vacuum and we're going to compost all of our manure solids. This is our Mensch vacuum. This we got this about 3 weeks ago. They're made in Michigan. This will vacuum all the manure out of the alleys. It will also vacuum up the sand and leaves a really nice clean finish. We then take the vacuum, actually goes out either onto the field, or most of the time it goes to our composting area where the slurry manure is put in between a berm, and it dries there through the winter into the spring, and then we compost through the summer months. We had the option of using sand or compost for bedding, but we decided that we preferred sand as a bedding source, and the compost, we're working to make a premium compost that we can we hope to be able to sell for $20 a ton, whereas we can buy sand for about $7 a ton. So to us it made the most sense to go ahead and use our compost in a manner in which we could sell and use the sand for bedding. This is the first of this type of vacuum in Idaho. It's self-propelled. It has the wings that will put puts pressure against the curbs at all times and stays open. You don't have to stay even. You can actually move from side to side through the alleyway, and it will keep the pressure and make adjustments as you move through the alley. It also is able to close completely down for where you're transporting. Also allows you at the end of the alley, you can close your wings in, back up, and you clean up all of the manure. You don't have any manure left over at the end. So we like this method for handling our manure. It allows us to use substantially less water than a flush system. So that's the way we plan on handling our manure. We're not using any type of holding cells, just going to do it all into compost.
And the price?
Oh, the price for the vacuum, it's a 3,500 or 3,400 gallon tank, and it was $160,000 US dollars. Just to summarize, from what we've been through today, the five of the biggest advantages of crossbreeding on my farm, not in any particular order, but I would talk about the transitioning of cows from calving through the fresh period. Transition is just pretty seamless. Cows calve very easily, without issue. Very low rates of metritis. Displaced abomasons are almost non-existent now, and we have less than 2% of the cows leading in the first 60 days after calving. Number two, reproductive efficiency. We're running a 37% pregnancy rate with 52% conception rate in our herd. Those numbers are close to double what we were when we were a pure Holstein herd. Three, milk solids. We're running about a 4% butter fat and a 3/4 protein in our herd, and it equates to about $1.50 to $2 extra on our milk check. So that's a big advantage. And then also, I think the quality of the feet and legs on the crossbreds, very good locomotion with the cows. They're able to travel the distances easily to and from the parlor, and very low incidence of lameness. And then fifth, I would just talk about the quality of life. There's just a lot less headaches and stresses associated with the crossbreds. When the cows are healthy and they're reproducing well, without needing a lot of injections to get them to come into heat and to get pregnant, it just makes life a little easier and less stressful, which is really important to me.